I'm Amoroso from Tag Cyber, and I'm here with Amir Sternhell, who is the Chief Strategy Officer for Sertainty, and also Kevin Beauregard, who is involved in both compliance and sales. You do both.
Yeah.
It's nice to see you guys.
Nice to see you, Ed.
Hey, topic I wanted to cover with you is how an enterprise goes about locating and understanding where their data is. I would imagine that's a gigantic problem. Amir, let's start with you. I know you deal with security teams all the time. Is it a matter of pushing a button, you put on some scan, you find everything? Or how do people find their data, or do they not know where the data is?
Most organizations do not deploy governance into the scheme of things. And the data usually is replicated who knows how many times, and it's everywhere and everywhere, so there's chaos. You multiply this 10 times with the fact that many companies have gone into the cloud or figuring out things, with mobility. So there has to be a mechanism that they would need to employ to figure out how to generate audits and logs behind the data itself. We have not witnessed this that much, and usually there's so much unstructured data that's in the wild that it makes them very cumbersome for the back office to really at one set of time to know exactly where things are. So it's very, very chaotic.
Kevin, how do they get through compliance activities if they can't locate their data, or do they just kind of fake it a little bit?
Well, companies are set up their compliance policies and their rules based off entitlements. And the challenge that they have is that they have multiple constituents that they're trying to service. They're trying to service their external clients, but also internally, they have their own internal clients as well. And the challenge that firms are trying to figure out the balance in regards to the compliance rules, because they don't want to adversely affect production and based off policies and rules and so on. So they come up with ways of how to simplify that process, but at the same time challenged with making sure that they are protected, that information is able to protect itself at all times. And that's where our technology comes into play.
Interesting. Now, Amir, you brought up structured versus unstructured. Let me make sure I get something here. Is it easier to find and locate your structured data than unstructured because it might be in a database or something, or are they both hard?
Within a database itself, obviously, it's contained.
Yeah.
Within a perimeter itself, it's contained. The problem is that most of the data today, actually 80% of enterprise data is unstructured.
80% unstructured.
Unstructured.
This would be Word files, PowerPoints, all kinds of
imaging,
PDFs, crazy stuff you have on your
But
computer.
stuff that's actually tagged with PII and PHI to it, stuff that effectively somebody from, let's say, from the dark web would have a field day because that it's a bonanza. It's easy to steal. It's easy to sell.
This has changed, right? I'm going to guess if you turn the clock back 25 years, would it be maybe more structured data than unstructured? Like you probably have everything in a database? I don't even know. I suspect that the growth of unstructured data seems a higher rate than structured. Did I have that right?
Absolutely. What people are trying to do as well is trying to make that change, because within a database structure, they feel that they have more control, as well as to ensure they're able to track who's accessing the information. Whereas on unstructured data, it's about controls of access of the files, where it's going, where it's been, and how information is being exchanged is no longer controlled the way they maybe want to.
Yeah. Have you ever heard the phrase, I don't know if it's like sometimes a joke, but you can't secure what you can't see.
Yeah.
Does that apply here?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know. Okay.
So
And also what happens too, if companies are trying to figure this out right now, is that they want to control how information is accessed and what they can do with it, because it happens with the reporting structure. So let's say you have information that's being touched by 20 different constituents, but they don't necessarily know how that information is being utilized and how that information flows through in their reporting structure, both in regard to regulatory reporting or customer reporting or whatever. Okay, and that's part of the challenge, and that's where we can actually help out with as well.
Amir, when you're talking to clients about your technology, do they ever bring this up and say, gosh, I'd love to use your technology, but I don't know where my data is, I don't even know what I would do? Or is it more positive than that, where there's a little bit more optimism that this can get done?
Well, there are some vendors out there that tag and classify, but their biggest concern is they don't know where the data is, and they are exposed to Sarbanes-Oxley and different type of regulatory requirements, which at any given time they could be penalized. So they have these things obviously where they're thinking about it, as well as every state has their own privacy act. That's another level of complication for them. So they don't know how to kind of deal with it. They're thinking, and many actually say, I better destroy than collect. So you're missing out on a lot of abilities to monetize things just because you do not have a line of sight from a regulatory perspective where things are.
Is there log information or other kinds of things, for example, from your product, from Sertainty product that would help here?
The point is that we mitigate the need, obviously, to have that line of sight into the data itself through logs, which effectively are populated into SIMs. So you do have at least an understanding where things are, and you have a map.
A trail and a map.
And all that. That itself is priceless in terms of what things are today. In addition, there's another thing that everybody's crying. They're saying that the biggest problem with banks, I know Kevin has a fintech hat, is the MIPS. Every year you get to more MIPS are being put out, more servers are being exploited. So the point is you're creating your own vulnerabilities because you're creating these MIPS which are redundant, you're putting them on servers to be effectively hacked by an outside player.
Well, I think we've all agreed that one of the first steps here is that you, as an enterprise manager, you better figure out at least some sort of tool or methodology for finding your data, right? If you want to secure it. Really awesome points. I appreciate you guys sharing with us really, really valuable information, and I want to thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you very much, Ed.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.